Hi there guys, Tag here with Kydex Customs, and I just wanted to make a quick video comparing and contrasting the differences between our older mid-ride mount combos and our newer laser cut mid-ride combos. So the main difference between these is obviously going to be the main body part of the combo mount. Our older mounts, as seen here, are made of an injection molded plastic. These have served us incredibly well over the years. I think we've been selling these for about the last 5 or 6 years with relatively few problems. Obviously, they both come with a leg strap. In this case, it is a mil-spec Taylor elasticated leg strap. And then they come with a QLS style male and female mount. The male mount obviously attaching onto your holster, the female mount attaching onto the mount here, allowing you to interchange between different holsters relatively easily and quickly. Now, moving over to the newer laser cut mid-ride mounts. The main difference obviously being the construction of these, how they mount, and a few other bits and bobs. So these, rather than being injection molded, are made from a laser cut material called Pure Pro, and this one is constructed from 3 different types. It's 2 layers of the 12-layer Pure Pro and a single layer of the 8-layer Pure Pro. What this allows us to do is have a slightly more flexible mount to allow it to kind of move and flex with your body, but also be nice and rigid where the holster is mounting, so there isn't any flop around or any kind of like wobble with the holster when running or anything like that, or when you're going to draw. These mounts also come with a mil-spec Taylor elasticated single leg strap and a male and female QLS mount. Now, one of the design differences that we made when we designed these was we allowed on the back, you'll notice it has 3 little fingers as opposed to this, which has 2 slots. Now, the advantage of this means that these mid-ride mounts will fit onto anything with molly. It takes 3 by 2 rows of molly, which means any battle belts, war belts, like the thicker, chunkier style of belt, these will mount onto perfectly fine, whereas previously these would only mount onto kind of your traditional belts or shooter style belts. Now, moving on, these mounts obviously, because they don't have the slot, have to adjust via a different weight. So we have 3 different positions on here on the holsters that allows you basically to move the screws up and down, and that just kind of sizes the mount onto your belt. It also means that you can just slap these onto the belt anywhere you want to, whereas the older style mounts you had to usually thread off a buckle and slide them all the way onto the belt. Now, another quality of life improvement that we've made on these is you'll notice there is a slot on either side, and this is to allow for a leg strap to go through. Whereas previously we had to offset the mounts and sandwich the leg strap between the mount and the female part of the QLS mount. This kind of eventually would put a bit of stress onto the female QLS mount, and generally just wasn't as comfortable. Whereas with the new ones, it obviously just allows any leg size leg strap to just get threaded through without any issues. Now, final 2 features on the new laser cut mid-ride mounts, one of which being the adjustable ride height. So along the back, you'll be able to see we have a few extra holes. This basically allows the mid-ride mount to mount the QLS or just mount your holster if you don't want to have the QLS involved, at 3 separate ride heights with about an inch in variance, maybe it's a little bit more in variance in ride height, just allowing you to kind of mount it however you'd like to mount it. Additionally, these also use a very similar hole pattern to a lot of our holsters, which means that this mount is actually able to mount onto Safariland, Blackhawk, Blade Tech, G-Code, all of our holsters, whereas the older ones traditionally only accepted Safariland style holsters or Safariland hole pattern holsters. So you're kind of a little bit more limited with those. Whereas with these, they'll basically fit onto anything that uses 3 screws to mount. Now, finally, The main difference that you will probably be able to see between these two mounts is that the newer laser cut mounts are actually available to be fabric wrapped. So we have 29 different fabric wrapping options, from your Cries and your Cry Multicam Black, all the way over to kind of your Swedish M90 or Desert Night Camo, as well as solid colours, you know, your black, olive drab, coyote brown, ranger green, wolf grey, stuff like that. And then these are also available for a slightly cheaper price with no fabric wrap at all, and they are just kind of the raw Pua fabric on material, which is kind of looks a little bit like a faux carbon fibre. It's like polypropylene kind of fibre weave. So that's basically all of the differences between our two mounts. Obviously, they're very comparable. There are just a few tweaks and differences. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below and we'll do our best to answer them. Cheers.